Statler Brothers, I love listening to the Statler Brothers. Many of you may also. They sang a song, Give It Your Best. And if that's not enough, don't lay awake losing rest. Don't ever bother to give it your all if you can't always give it your best. At an early age of life, my grandfather and grandmother, we called them Mama and Papa, settled on a little quarter of land, 160-acre land just over here. I call it in kind of no man's land, just east of Temple. And they chiseled out a family and worked really hard. I can remember he would get up at 3 to 4 in the morning and milk the cow. She would get up at 5 and rattle the pans, and you had to be sitting at the breakfast table at 5:30 or you didn't get a meal. Well, all of that was they were doing their best with what they had. A Farmall tractor up until he was 80 or 90 when everybody else had their nice John Deere's, pulling bowls by the hand and carrying those big sacks down there. Some of you remember those days and gladly forget those days because people worked from sun up to sundown and there was no breaks. There was no, okay, we're going on vac, So in this lesson today, what are the downfalls of not giving your best? And what are the benefits of giving it your all? Because I think we'll find that we need to do both. Both give our all and give our best in all cases. And sometimes we are going to fall short, aren't we? Obviously. Matthew 25, the first part where we look at this, we see a scenario here where their best wasn't given, and the same story we see a gentleman giving his best. And let's look at what it looks like. For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground, and he hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled their accounts with them. Now, we're thinking of talents as like money here, right? It's kind of what he's referring to. But I'd like for you to think of talents today, maybe some of the things that God has blessed you with. And that can be a lot of different things. It may be a physical skill. It may be a spiritual way of teaching. It can be a lot of different things. But let's broaden that from just money to the abilities and skills and talents that you have. So he said, verse 20, he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. His Lord said to him, well done. Now think about that. Well done, good and faithful servant. So what are we doing with our talents? Will he be able to say, well done and good and faithful servant to you? For you were faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also, who had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents, and I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of the Lord. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there, you have what is yours. That was pretty impressive to the guy, wasn't it? I brought your money back to you. I kid my brother. I said, he asked me if I want to buy pigs, and I said, well, I don't have any money. You go dig your cans up. How many of you guys got cans in your backyard? I think they used to do that a long time ago. But his Lord answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant. He's talking specifically money here, right? You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. In our lesson today in 2 Timothy, he encourages Timothy to preach the word. And that encouragement is to us also, all of us. What a parable we are to adhere to. How many talents has the Master, our Father, given us? And that's a question for you and I. How many talents has he given us? What have we done with those talents? What are the consequences of faithfulness? What are we going to gain from faithfulness? Or laziness? He's going to tell us about both of those here today. If we are faithful and willing to share and use the talents he has given us, he will be faithful to give us what? To give us more. However, if we are lazy with the talents he gives us, or we do not utilize these talents, he will take them away from us. And he will cast the unprofitable servant away, where? Into outer darkness. Jesus wants us to be good stewards of his work and to spread the good news to all the world. We are to be held accountable of our Christian walk and to increase in the fruits of our Spirit, of the Spirit. Let's turn and look at Luke 10, verse 30 through 37. We find here some doing good, some not doing anything. Then Jesus answered and said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among the thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance, a certain priest came down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite, when he arrived at the place, came and looked and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and he set him on his own animal, brought to him at the inn, and took care of him. On the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said to him, take care of him, and whatever more you spend, when I come again, I will repay you. So which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him who fell among the thieves? And he said, he who showed mercy on him. Then Jesus said to him, what? Go and do likewise. So what's our message there? Are we to get on the other side of the road and walk around the situation? Skirt the situation? See, we're busy, right? We don't have time. I'm sure the priest was busy. I'm sure the Levite was busy. And what did he decide to do? They decide to do. We see in this parable, doing your best will require what? It will require sacrifice. It'll require time. And it's going to require the energy that's going to be spent, like a whole day, interrupted, and it's going to require some money, isn't it? We're going to have to give up something to do what's right. And I think that's the story here in a nutshell. To do our best, we have to do those things and give up something to do what's right. What does the Bible say about doing your best? Well, there's a lot of passages, and you might want to kind of raise your feet up here. I'm going to try to get my toes off the ground here because he hits all of them. Proverbs is a great place to start if you want to know what he really says about not doing your best and maybe doing your best. Proverbs 12:27, the lazy man does not roast when he took in hunting, but diligence is man's precious possession. That extra work is man's precious possession. I tell my kids all the time, we're not in it to win it, we're in it to do our best. Because if you can do your best, you're what? You're a winner. I tell them that. And I think it's true. God wants us to do our best. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. In 13 verse 4. Proverbs 15:19, the way of the lazy man is like a hedge of thorns. Or at Hollis, it's like sticker weeds. We sat on sticker weeds the other night. But the way of the upright is a highway. It's clear sailing. It's 4 lanes. It's open. The lazy man will not plow because of winter or whatever situation. He will beg during harvest and have nothing. The desire of the lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. The lazy man says there is a lion in the road, a fierce lion is in the streets. There's always something wrong, isn't there? As a door turns on its hinges, chapter 26, 14 through 16, so does the lazy man on his bed. The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. And then we find this very good one, Proverbs 6 through 11, talking about the ant. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. So right now, if you watch an ant bed, I seen one yesterday or two, boy, they're busy. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. So what does he say about being lazy there? It's not the right way to do things, is it? 2 Thessalonians 3:10 through 12. For even when we were with you, we commanded you this. If anyone will not work, neither shall he what? Shall he eat. For we hear that there are some who walk among you in a disorderly manner, not working at all, but are busybodies. Now those who are such, we command and exhort through our Lord Jesus Christ that they work in quietness and eat their own bread. But as for you, brethren, do not grow weary in what? Doing good. You can't do enough good things, can you? Don't grow weary in doing good. Keep on keeping on. And if anyone does not obey our word in this epistle, note that person and do not keep company with him, that he may be ashamed. And then a key verse here in verse 15. Yet do not count him as an enemy. Admonish him as a brother. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but only one is going to receive the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown. But how about us? The imperishable crown. That home in heaven. Are we running that race? Are we doing our best each day? Therefore, if I run this, thus, not with uncertainty, thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified. So what did Jesus teach about doing your best? Jesus answered in John 9, verse 4, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God should be revealed in him. I must work the works of him, capital H. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. So he's encouraging us to just keep on working in the kingdom here. Keep on spreading the word, keep on teaching, keep on preaching, because there's going to be a time when no one will work. As long as I am in the world, I am the what? We sang it a couple weeks ago, this little light of mine. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. He left you to be lights for him. That's the work he wants you to do, to be the light in this community, Cache, or Southwest Oklahoma. He wants us to be the lights. He wants us to spread the word. He wants us to preach the word every day, in every situation. We are to be his bondservants. Colossians 3:22 through 25. In everything we do, whether we're a pharmacist or a farmer or a school teacher, it doesn't matter, or a student, he wants us to be his bondservants. Read with me Colossians 3:22 through 25. Bondservants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with what? Not with eye service as men pleasers. How many of you ever got called out, oh, you're just trying to please the boss? Eye service, men pleasers. He says, but I want you to do it this way. Scrap that idea. I mean, that's not a bad idea, but let's scrap that. But in sincerity of heart, I want you to have this motivation. I want you to do it from fear of God. Fearing God. And whatever you do, do it what? Do it heartily, with all your heart, as to the Lord and not to men. So our focus should not be to please the world, it should be to please God. So he draws that distinction out there. And if we do each day, as we wake up each day, we say, today I'm going to work for the Lord, not to men. Knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward in the inheritance. For you serve the Lord Christ. But he who does wrong will be repaid for what he has done, and there is no partiality. Who's the judge? Jesus Christ. God's going to judge the world. He's going to judge us also. What relationship do we have with God? Do we have a right relationship? Are we connected to God? Do we have the blood of Christ flowing through our veins? Will we receive that inheritance? How about our neighbors? If we're to go in the world, we've got to go to our neighbors and preach the word so that they can have that blood of Christ, as we're going to sing about as we stand and sing.